You've been on the inside of KDE and sort of through much of this process of moving towards Senate Bill 1 or Senate Bill 1, which is all going to start in a few, actually practically before you know it. What would you say to Lexington that people in Lexington, they need to know, parents need to know to be ready for this and what to expect when it comes down?
I think that we have got to communicate to our parents that we believe that Senate Bill 1 is going to increase the rigor and relevance for our students, and that these standards are internationally benchmarked, and that our students are going to get a much deeper and rigorous instruction and a more quality education through our school system with Senate Bill 1. I think we have to have a strategic plan on how we're going to communicate these changes and these core standards to our parents, and that is something that I would like to do, is put that communication plan in place. I don't think that we have done a good job so far with communicating to our parents the importance and the impact that these Kentucky academic core standards are going to have on the teaching and learning that's going to take place in our school districts for the next few years.
Should that include telling parents that you might see your kids' scores drop somewhat as they move into this step?
I am not so sure that that is what I would communicate. I'm sure that I probably do not, that I differ with some of my colleagues. My expectations are never going to be negative expectations. So I would expect that it wouldn't happen. So I think you get what you expect. So I think if we do a good job with implementing the standards, we provide the professional development for the teachers, and we provide some support when we see that we may not be going as we needed for them to go, then my expectation is that students will master the content, and when we assess that, they will do very well.
Talk some about your experience with the state.
Yes.
Sometimes the locals in the state don't always see eye to eye on certain education matters. How do you feel the relationship is now?
From my own personal perspective, I have a wonderful working relationship with KDE. I understand that there has been some reduction in staff, and that it has gone in probably a different direction than it was 20 years ago. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I think that relationships work on both ends, that you have to continue to nurture those relationships with KDE. And what I have found with the Kentucky Department of Education and all the places that I have worked, that have been very, very supportive.
Both candidates have talked about their relationship to Stu Silverman. Ms. Young talked about she gets a text message from him on snow days. Mr. Shelton called him a mentor and a friend. Could you tell us your relationship with Stu Silverman? Yeah, I am in that little texting group too on snow days. I had the privilege of meeting Stu when I was in the minority superintendent's intern program. There was 3 of us in the program at the time. My mentor was Leon Mooneyhan in Shelby County. The other superintendent intern, Anthony Sanders' mentor was Stu Silverman, and Yolanda Washington's mentor was Blake Hazelton. That was the very first year of the minority superintendent intern program, and I would say that those 3 superintendents were probably Kentucky's best and brightest. And so that's when I became to know Stu, because the 6 of us spent a lot of time together that year. And for whatever reason, Stu and I kind of clicked. I think we had the same philosophies. We believed in the same things. Our value systems were much alike, and we just continued that relationship. And I've always admired him from afar, what he was doing in Davis County. So I was very excited that he was going to be my neighbor when he came to Fayette County.
I will jump in and ask this question I've asked of every candidate so far. How would you handle snow days, which are very much of interest to parents?
The students ask the same question. As I said to our students, you always err on the side of caution. the first important thing that you look at is the safety of the students on the buses. But not only that, we have many students that drive their vehicles to school as well. And so I think at the time you've got to make the decision based on the best data that you have at that time. And you've got to make that call at a certain time so to ensure that your bus drivers have notification and that your parents have notification. So it's one of those 50-50 things. Some people are going to like it, some people aren't. But I think you have to make that decision based on the data that you have at that particular time. Given the time frame, you have to make the decision, and you always err on the side of caution. Safety is always the number one priority.
Well, if you're hired, you have several weeks now before school starts. What will you do to make yourself known, to let Lexingtonians know who you are, what you are, and how you're going to do this between now and the start of school?
I would, one of the things that I did in Clark County, and if that decision was made before school started, that would give you ample opportunity to implement what I would call my entry plan. And that entry plan has very specific strategies in it that I use to learn the community, learn the school district. And one of the strategies in that is that you have meetings with very focus groups across the community. Those focus groups have, I have about 5 or 6 interview questions that I would ask those particular individuals. You have groups of community members, you have groups of teachers you meet with, principals, central office staff, you have a one-on-one individual meeting with each board member, you have any other focus groups, parent meetings, and one of those particular questions that I ask is, what do you see as the biggest challenge for your school district? What is the one thing in this school district that you want to hold on to that is dear and to your heart that you just don't want to change? One of the other questions is that I know that you have been the leader that have preceded me. Were you pleased with their leadership style? And the next question would be, what type of leadership style would you like to see with your new superintendent? And another question I would ask is, what are your expectations of me as your superintendent? So those are the kinds of questions that I would ask all of those different groups. I would compile that information, look for common threads, look for if there were any things that popped up that I would need to address in the first 60 to 90 days. And then I would share that information with the board team, and to see if there are any issues or concerns that they would have. So that's the first things I would do if I came in as superintendent.
If selected, how long do you see yourself in Fayette County?
That was a question I asked earlier as well. I would make a commitment to stay 7 to 10 years. And the reason I say that, I had the experience of being in Fayette County when we went through 3 superintendents in about 2 years. And I know that that was not fun. It was not good for morale. So I know the importance of sustainability, continuity, and that the tenure of the superintendent really does make a difference with the success of the school district.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.